My name is Gavin, and I'm here to tell the story of my friend Calvin before it's too late. If you don't know me, I'm a content creator for a YouTube channel called Galvantic. Or I was at least. I know this video sounds incredibly scripted, and that's because it is. I'm too distraught right now to trust myself to come up with the words. Anyways, let me take you to the beginning. My friend Calvin and I started Galvantic in February of 2020. At first, our channel was kind of just a joke to us, something we could laugh at. But after about a year, we actually started to take it seriously. We started to post more often, and it became less of a hobby and more of a passion. We moved on from strictly Wizard 101 parodies and started working on everything from skits to music. As we branched out, our audience got bigger. At this point, we wanted to make YouTube our full-time job and not just a little side gig, but we knew we couldn't do it with our audience size at the time. Let's just say, we weren't patient enough to wait for our audience to get bigger, no matter how badly we wanted it. We began searching for internships and jobs for YouTubers. We were willing to edit, be social media marketers, heck, we were willing to become janitors for YouTubers as long as it got our name out there. After a couple of months of searching, emailing, and grinding, we came up short. We couldn't find any jobs, let alone one that would accept both of us. But that would change soon. Demoralized, we were about ready to throw in the towel, but that was when the perfect opportunity struck. We were looking for jobs on Instagram when we discovered the biggest surprise of our lives. We saw that Mr. Beast was offering internships for 2 content creators for help on his videos. We just about jumped when we saw it. We thought it was too good to be true, and it almost was. When we were looking at the details for applying for the internship, we checked when the application was due. We had just 10 minutes left to submit our application. From there, we scrambled to fill in the application. We didn't have much time to fill it in and really sell ourselves, so we had to stretch the truth a little bit, but we ultimately got it sent in. In the following days, we awaited a response from Mr. Beast. We weren't really expecting to get in, as we thought that we didn't have enough time to fill in our responses, but we still had hope. We thought we were a good X Factor, and we thought the fact that we were a duo might make us too good to pass up. After 5 weeks of anticipation, we were expecting to get the results soon. I'll never forget the day we got the results. We were recording our next video about if we were the monsters in My Singing Monsters, and we were getting pretty tired. We both got an Instagram message on our phones, so we pulled out our phones to see what it was. When we saw what it was, we absolutely freaked out. We got accepted to intern for Mr. Beast. The next week or two was a complete blur. We had to scramble to buy plane tickets, pack things up, take our recording equipment, make sure we had the proper gear for the job, and say our goodbyes. To say we were thrilled would be an understatement. We weren't exactly the biggest fans of Mr. Beast before, but who wouldn't jump at the opportunity to intern for him? Let's just say we were. Calvin even made vlogs to document the experience.
Hey Galvaniacs, so I'm just gonna kind of vlog our experience going to work with Mr. Beast because it's super interesting. I'm sure a lot of people want to know what it's like, and we're also super excited so we can look back on this and everything. Basically we're just bringing a camera, computer of course, microphone. Those are the main things that we need because of course we're still going to be working on Galvantic videos along the journey, but yeah, I mean those are the main oh, I guess I should probably bring this trusty aux cord. You never know when those are going to come in handy. They probably have a billion, but I'll bring it anyway. Anyway, we got a plane to catch. See you later, Galvaniacs.
Once we arrived, we pretty much immediately got to work. Mr. Beast is a busy guy, and our schedules reflected that, but we didn't mind. We were just happy to be finally doing YouTube full-time. With any spare time we had, we tried using it to make Galvantic videos like our IKEA cast and fruit snacks videos. We mainly did miscellaneous work for Mr. Beast, which included things like extra editing, setting up sets for filming, and doing errands for the employees. At first, nothing seemed off about the place, and it felt like a pretty good work environment. But there was one odd thing that happened about 3 weeks in. We noticed that one of Mr. Beast's helpers suddenly stopped showing up one day. We didn't really know him very well, so we thought that he was just a temporary helper for Mr. Beast and wasn't planning on staying for long.
Working on the Willy Wonka set, that was really freaking weird because Willy Wonka is one of my favorite childhood movies, so it's just kind of weird to finally be there. And messing around with the Beast crew. All the Beast crew guys are super fun. Well, I guess one of the guys was kind of being weird, he was acting all strange, and he's just kind of like zoning out the whole time. I don't know. Maybe something was wrong.
And that was the last time that we saw him. It felt weird in the moment, since he didn't say goodbye or anything, but we just assumed that he had been overwhelmed and had moved on or found another job. Either way, we couldn't dwell on it for too long. Every new video was coming at us hard and fast, and we just had to keep working. After that, things were going really well for a while. Jimmy was obviously popping off with every video that he released, which made for great team morale. Calvin and I were super happy to be there, and we were glad that we helped make the videos do so well. Our lives seemed almost too good to be true, and I do say that for a reason. One day, about 2 months ago, Calvin and I were brainstorming video ideas when Jimmy called Calvin into his office and told him he wanted to show him something. About 15 minutes later, Calvin came back seeming off. He was still laughing and messing around with me, but it almost seemed like he was forcing it. I asked him about what he was doing in there, and he just quickly told me it was an unreleased Mr. Beast video and changed the topic. I didn't want to pry, since I know that Jimmy can be very secretive about his projects, even with the rest of the team. We continued to work on Galvantic and Mr. Beast videos over the next few weeks, but Calvin just didn't seem there. Every time I looked at him, he was either staring off into the distance or mindlessly working. Looking back, it seems like he was trying to distract himself from whatever thoughts were plaguing his mind. I tried talking to him to figure out what was wrong, but every time that I asked, he avoided the question and just said that it was nothing. After a while, I just tried to move on from the topic, but it was clear that something was different. Calvin's work on video production for both Galvantic and Mr. Beast slowed down rapidly, and I had to finish many of his unfinished tasks. I started getting suspicious that he was just losing motivation, and I was admittedly starting to get kind of annoyed. He was clearly going through something, but having to pick up his slack was getting on my nerves. I knew I had to figure out what was going on, as it wasn't only affecting him, but it was affecting the people around him too. Jimmy didn't even acknowledge his change in behavior, and it felt like he didn't care. He clearly noticed that something was wrong. He would be stupid if he didn't. He just seemed completely unaffected by it. At one point, I even talked to him directly about it because I was concerned and frustrated. However, when I talked to him, he just responded, "If not everyone can keep up the good mood, it's up to you to work harder to make the workplace shine." This answer was far from helpful, but as I walked away, I could have sworn I heard him say, "And if you can't, you'll be the next to go." I was too frustrated to ask any further about what he said, so I left. This was where Calvin's behavior became extremely concerning. He stopped being sad and started acting insane. His work ethic completely switched overnight, becoming unhealthily obsessed with YouTube more than ever before. I never saw him go to sleep once, so I'm assuming he must have just slept in our office. This continued for a few months, and his insanity somehow continued to grow. He started begging Jimmy to appear in a video, and when he said no, he told Jimmy he'd do anything to appear in one, to which Jimmy responded, "Get your 10,000 hours in." Calvin swiftly walked out of the building, looking determined. I don't know what was in that video Jimmy showed him, but whatever it was, it must have been grim. A few days passed, and I hadn't seen any trace of Calvin. I decided that I wanted to enjoy my weekend for once, and not have to worry about everything that was going on. But when I came back on Monday, something felt off. Nobody was there, and it was 9 a.m., which is usually when most people are already there. I assumed that they were just out filming something, so I walked to our office, assuming Calvin would be in there. When I entered the office, I was hit with the most horrible odor I had ever encountered. I looked over, and what I saw shook me to my core. Calvin had hanged himself using the very aux cord we had brought all those months ago. I was completely shocked, and I called the police immediately. I knew that something was wrong all along, but I didn't expect it to be something like this. The Beast crew is also completely stunned by what happened. But Jimmy himself didn't seem bothered in the slightest. In fact, he didn't even appear surprised. I need more time to process this. I'm only recording this days after I found out, and I don't think it's fully hit me yet. I've just been trying to work to block out my emotions. I don't feel right working for Mr. Beast anymore, but it's the only way I can make money, so I have to. Maybe Jimmy just doesn't deal with grief the way other people do. I don't know, but it just doesn't feel right that he didn't even seem shocked in the slightest. But life goes on, and the grind never stops. I'm going to continue Galvantic in honor of Calvin. It just feels like it's what he would want. Oh, wait, no, I'll be right back. Jimmy's calling me into his office. He wants to show me something.